Okay, now I want to talk a bit about some of the restrictions that MATLAB places on variables. So we've talked about variables and why they're useful, and as you'll see, you will need them a lot. But what you'll also come to realize as you do more MATLAB programming is that MATLAB is very, very, very specific about how it wants code to be written. And this isn't just specific for MATLAB, it's true for every programming language. Programming languages are just a very strict set of rules that govern how you should enter commands into it so that the program can understand and translate that into something a computer can understand. Okay, so what I mean by that is specifically with variables, there's lots of restrictions on how we should be writing variables. So like I said last time, we create variables using the equals sign, the equals operator, right? So uh, before we had x3 equals 5, that was a way of saying that everything to the left of the equal sign, so let's take this line for example, everything to the left of the equal sign, which is x3, that is the name of the variable, right? So previously we were trying to work out the area of this cylinder and the length of the cylinder. We could write, we couldn't just, we could just write it as A or L, or we could write it out in full as a word. So we could write area is equal to um, whatever it was, pi. Let's just copy it here, and that works too. So everything, what MATLAB is doing is it's reading in this line and it's saying, okay, I've spotted an equal sign. That means that there must be a variable that I'm creating. Everything to the left of the variable is the name of that variable. So area in this case gets created and then the value is assigned to that variable. But you know, from say mathematics, we could also do something like this. We could say 3 equals x, okay? And in mathematics, that is fine. It's saying 3 is equal to x, but in MATLAB, this is not this is not a good way of assigning a variable. And actually, if you try to do it, MATLAB will throw an error. It will say everything to the left of the equal sign must be the variable name, but the variable name you've given me is the number 3, and so the expression to the left of the equal sign is not a valid target for an assignment. So this is what I mean. I can't have variables that are numbers, and I can't do things like this either. X minus y equals 3. That also won't work because again, all MATLAB is doing is it's looking for the equal sign and then it's saying everything to the left of it must be the variable name. But now the variable name has a special subtraction sign. So then it's trying to say, well, is this a difference of two numbers, or is this a variable name? Well, we can't have a subtraction to the left of an equal sign, so that means that this is an invalid thing. Say we wanted to write something like cylinder area is equal to pi times 2.15 squared divided by 4. If we try to do this, it almost looks like it works, but you'll notice that it also doesn't, because now everything to the left of the equal sign is this, and this highlighted section over here has a space in it. So MATLAB now is trying to figure out what are you meaning when you say cylinder space area. So a big thing with naming variables in MATLAB, and what I want to try and emphasize, is that the type of files or the type of names for variables that you give in MATLAB must only contain characters, or must only contain letters. They can only start with letters, and they can't have any spaces in, and they can't have any special signs like this. You know, this indicates a subtraction, this indicates a multiplication, that indicates a division. If I try to put in things with x times y divided by z equals 3.5, for instance, that won't work, because again, you're mixing characters, you know, ordinary letters, with special characters that are used to designate division and multiplication and subtraction and so on. So sometimes we do want to write variables that have more than one word in it. So if we did want to write cylinder area, instead of writing cylinder area like that, equals what the area is, we recognize that we can't have spaces. So what we normally do is we put in an underscore. And so that's just one convention that people use. Another convention is to capitalize all the words. So we could write cylinder area like that, and that would be the same thing. And really you could name it as whatever you want. You could have a very, very long variable and some numbers in it. That works too, but MATLAB complains that there's a restriction on how many characters you can have. So the thing is, what I also wanted to say is variable names can have numbers in them. So let's make this just a bit shorter. Oops. This is just a garbage variable name, but it's got numbers and letters in, and this is fine for MATLAB as long as there's no number to the that starts in the variable name. So if I replace that with 1 ALSD is equal to that, MATLAB would complain again. It says no, this is not a valid name for a variable. So that's just some of the things that I wanted to talk about MATLAB variables. They're quite specific, but I think you'll get to realize that it's not that difficult. If I want to make a variable, I either capitalize the letters or I do underscores. Generally try to keep with one convention to make it easier to understand, and then you should be fine. Thanks.